When Pokémon Legends Z-A was first announced, I remember being so excited I could barely think about anything else. Pokémon X was actually the first Pokémon game I ever bought with my own money, so it has always had a very special place in my heart. And Kalos was finally getting the justice it deserved after being absolutely snubbed a decade ago by never receiving a third version. Also, Zygarde would finally take the spotlight it was so rudely denied back in Pokémon X and Y. But most importantly for me, as a competitive player, Game Freak had not forgotten about Mega Evolution after all. Speculation was running wild. Did the Mega Evolution tease at the end of the first trailer mean that every Mega was returning, including the Oras Megas? And what about the Primal Reversions? And was Game Freak actually bold enough to create new Mega Evolutions? Well, it appears that they were. As unthinkable as this would have been a few years ago, Game Freak did give us new Megas, and what a glorious selection it is, from heavyweights like Dragonite to long overlooked Pokemon like Victreebel and Malamar, who arguably deserve it more than anyone. Now, I'll admit some of the designs are a bit of a hit or miss for me personally, but as a competitive player, my main concern is how these Pokemon are going to perform in battle. So in today's video, we are going to take a closer look at just that. Obviously, we don't know the abilities of any of these Megas yet, so this is a purely speculative discussion for now, but honestly, that is what makes it so fun, right? And before we dive in, fair warning, this video will include unrevealed Mega Evolutions, some of which could be considered story spoilers. So if you'd rather experience them firsthand, I completely understand. Now is your chance to click off the video, and I will see you later. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into the 5 most promising new Mega Evolutions in Pokémon Legends Z-A. So starting off the list, we have got Mega Greninja. Easily one of the most anticipated Mega Evolutions, I'm sure. Now let's be real, this thing has massive shoes to fill, given how ridiculous both Protein and Ash Greninja have been in competitive singles. So Mega Greninja gets a pretty good base stat boost, plus 30 in attack and special attack, plus 20 in speed, and plus 10 in both defenses. Now, I'll admit, compared to Ash Greninja, this might look a little underwhelming at first, especially since Ash Gren can hold items. But here's the thing, right? You can't get Ash Gren until it actually picks up a knockout. Meanwhile, Mega Greninja is accessible immediately upon Mega Evolving. And while Ash Greninja might hit harder, it's also 10 points slower, and that's a big deal because base 142 speed is straight up wild. We are talking about a Pokemon that speed ties Dragapult, which is basically the fastest relevant threat in OU history after Deoxys Speed and Mega Alakazam. Also, we don't even know what its ability is going to be, right? We still don't know if it's going to be something like Adaptability or even just Protein, which could easily make Mega Greninja just as strong as Ash Greninja. Now here's the part that really excites me, the move pool. Greninja has really been eating good lately. If you remember Gen 7 OU, you'll probably still have nightmares about both Protein and Ash Greninja constantly forcing switches and setting up spikes which allowed them to break through their checks super easily. Now imagine if instead of setting up spikes, Greninja could use those turns for something even scarier, because guess what? Greninja got access to Swords Dance in Scarlet and Violet and Nasty Plot in Legends Z-A. Combined with the big offensive stat buffs from Mega Evolution, we might be looking at something truly insane. Just to put everything into perspective, here are some damage calculations for a +2 Mega Greninja against some of Ash Greninja's best checks back in the day. Assault Vest Tangrowth is 2-hit KO'd by Dark Pulse. Toxapex is also 2-hit KO'd by Dark Pulse. Ferrothorn is also 2-hit KO'd by Dark Pulse. Tapu Bulu is 1-hit KO'd by Ice Beam after Stealth Rock. Chansey is 2-hit KO'd by Liquidation. Tapu Fini is 1-hit KO'd by Gunk Shot, and Assault Vest Magearna is 2-hit KO'd by Hydro Pump after just one layer of spikes. And you have to remember, these calculations don't even account for Mega Greninja's potential ability, or a boost from rain. So yeah, I think Mega Greninja might just end up being everything we loved and feared about Ash Gran, but cranked up to a new level. I mean, it's fast, it's flexible, it's packing some absurd setup options now, and if Game Freak actually gives it a strong ability on top, we could be looking at one of the most oppressive offensive Megas in OU. Chestnut has always been one of the less viable starters overall, if we're being honest, but wow did it get a glow up with its Mega form. Mega Chestnut loses 20 points in speed, but in return it is blessed with massive gains in all the right areas. Its attack jumps from 107 to 137, its defense from 122 to a monstrous 172, and even its special defense, which used to be a very average 75, climbs all the way to 115. Now these stats are absolutely insane. They basically fix everything that was ever wrong with Chestnut. Chestnut has always had a very solid typing and a surprisingly deep move pool, but its base stats just never lived up to its potential. Well, those days are officially over. Even without knowing its ability, I think it's fair to say Mega Chestnut is shaping up to be one of the bulkiest and most frustrating Pokemon in OU. Some of the strongest staples in the tier like King Gambit, Great Tusk, Kartana, Ogerpon Wellspring, they will genuinely struggle to break through this thing. And in the context of VGC, I can't see Mega Chestnut being anything less than solid either. It's one of the best natural checks to both Urshifu forms, and that drop in speed to base 44 actually helps it under Trick Room, letting it outspeed Calyrex Ice, Iron Hands, and the Ursaluna forms. Plus, Iron Defense Body Press users tend to perform very well in doubles, since their damage can't be mitigated by Intimidate. Just take a look at Zamazenta. It went from completely unviable to one of the main restricted legendaries used in Scarlet and Violet's VGC circuit for basically the same reason. And remember, all of this is before we even factor in potential abilities, right? Mega Chestnut's design gives it plenty of interesting options. The two massive shields on its shoulder immediately made me think of something like Dauntless Shield, which would be pretty crazy. The most busted option though, in my opinion, would be Stamina. Imagine a Pokemon with these stats, and Stab Body Press, and the ability to raise its defense every time it's hit. That would literally be absurd. But even something less dramatic like Rough Skin or keeping its hidden ability bulletproof would actually be pretty great. Honestly, I really think the ability is kind of secondary here. Mega Chestnut's stats alone give it everything it needs to shine. So I think the bottom line is that Mega Chestnut can only go up from here, and I'm genuinely excited to see where it lands in the competitive landscape. Mega Barbaracle is shaping up to be one of the scariest setup sweepers ever, and it's not hard to see why. Let's start with the obvious, Shell Smash. Even regular Barbaracle was already somewhat threatening with it, but it was always held back by its mediocre stats and awkward speed tier. Well, those problems are gone. Mega Barbaracle's base 140 attack and 88 speed completely changed the equation. To draw a comparison, Shell Smash Mega Blastoise got banned in National Dex OU, and that thing was both weaker and slower. The typing is actually amazing for an offensive Pokemon too. Barbaracle changes from Rock Water to Rock Fighting, which is known to have been excellent on the once iconic Terrakion. There's actually nothing in OU that resists this combo except for Goldango, which is smacked by Earthquake anyway. And here's the thing, Barbaracle's defenses are actually solid too. 130 defense and 106 special defense mean it can reliably set up Shell Smash against most of the metagame. And that's a huge deal, because one of the biggest problems with Shell Smash sweepers has always been how frail they are. Mega Barbaracle though is tanky enough to live even an Earthquake from a defensive Landorus Therian. Now we obviously don't know what ability it's getting yet, but even keeping Tough Claws would push it over the edge and make moves like Stone Edge and Close Combat or Liquidation hit absurdly hard at +2. So Mega Barbaracle truly looks like it's going to be one of those Pokemon that either wins the game outright or forces your opponent to play perfectly just to survive it. Between its incredible typing and monstrous stats, and access to one of the best setup moves in the entire game, this thing is practically built to sweep, and there is no doubt in my mind that it will be an auto-include on the most cursed dual screens hyper offenses as soon as it drops. Starmie is one of the most iconic Pokemon from Gen 1, and from a competitive standpoint, it has had an amazing career, spending most of its history ranked in OU. But ever since Gen 7, things have gone downhill. The insane power creep brought on by Pokemon like Ash Greninja and Tapu Koko meant that Starmie just couldn't keep up anymore. Its once blazing base 115 speed has become merely above average, and its base 100 special attack is honestly very underwhelming these days. Thankfully, Game Freak decided to give Starmie another shot at stardom, and while the design of Mega Starmie might be, questionable at best, the opposite is true for its competitive potential. So Mega Starmie gets a base 140 stat increase upon Mega Evolving, which might seem random at first but actually gives us a big clue about what its ability is going to be. A very similar boost was given to Mega Medichim and Mega Mawile too, both of whom received an extra 40 attack to make up for losing their abilities in Pokémon Legends Z-A. Through that same logic, we can therefore assume that Mega Starmie will end up with around base 100 attack and either huge power or pure power, and this would instantly set it up as one of the strongest wall breakers to set foot in OU. To match its new role as a physical wall breaker, Starmie's move pool got some serious upgrades. It now has access to Liquidation, Zen Headbutt, Flip Turn, Aqua Jet, and even Bulk Up. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it picked up even more tools in Pokemon Champions. Moves like High Jump Kick or Triple Axle would make total sense for Mega Starmie. I mean, look at it, it's got legs for days. Both moves would massively boost its offensive coverage and make switching into it an absolute nightmare. Mega Starmie's other stats are nothing to scoff at either. Base 120 speed makes it the fastest huge power or pure power Pokemon in existence. And a base 130 special attack opens up all sorts of mixed set potential like Thunderbolt for smacking Slowbro or Ice Beam for Tangrowth. Even defensively, it's surprisingly sturdy with 105 in both defenses and access to recover, of course. I honestly don't see this Pokemon being anything less than amazing. Mega Starmie could run just about anything. I mean, bulk up 3 attacks is possible, bulk up recover seems scary, it can run all-out attacking set, or even mixed offensive set to keep opponents guessing. If Game Freak really gives it huge power or pure power, and to be honest I think it's pretty much confirmed that they will, Starmie is not just making a comeback, it is coming to tear OU apart. Taking the top spot on this list, and honestly it was pretty close for me, we have got Mega Delphox. This thing is absolutely insane in all the right ways. Now Delphox has always been kind of an underdog among the starters, sitting in the shadow of Greninja and even Chestnut at times, to be honest. But this Mega completely flips that. Mega Delphox clocks in at 159 special attack, 134 speed, and 129 special defense, which is so min-maxed it might as well be Fluttermane's elder sister. To put these stats into perspective, Mega Delphox matches Mega Charizard Y's special attack and is faster than speed demons like Weavile and Tapu Koko. The main reason why these stats feel so threatening is because Delphox is absolutely stacked when it comes to its move pool. Fire Blast and Psyshock are outstanding stab options that allow it to break both defensive and specially defensive walls to smithereens after a Nasty Plot boost. And Focus Blast complements its stab moves almost perfectly, smashing through the otherwise annoying Heatran, Tyranitar, and Roaring Moon. I was scrolling through the list of Pokemon that have been viable at one point in OU, and literally the only option that I could feasibly see checking Mega Delphox is Mega Latios. And even then, Delphox gets both Shadow Ball and Dazzling Gleam if it absolutely needs to snipe that too. Even in VGC, the combination of Nasty Plot, Heat Wave, and Expanding Force is going to be incredible with NDD support. It's not just raw power either. A base 134 speed is a godsend for Delphox, putting it ahead of most revenge killers and, most importantly, every pursuit trapper in existence. And of course, we can't forget about potential abilities. Now, I am not going to lie to you, Mega Delphox looks broken to me with just Blaze, let alone an actually decent ability. And there's a lot to speculate here. Maybe something thematic like Magic Guard or Levitate, or if they want to be absurd, Psychic Surge would go pretty insane. But long story short, if you were one of those people that picked Fennekin back in Gen 6 like I did, congratulations, your time has come. Now, did you really think this list would end at Delphox? I mean, everyone knew this was coming, there was never any suspense. The true top spot belongs to one Pokemon alone. Mega Zygarde Complete. And I didn't rank it because putting this thing next to anything else is kind of a disservice to its complete lunacy. The raw numbers already read like a joke. I mean, what do you mean 216 HP and special attack? That's literally absurd. It makes Mega Rayquaza look restrained. Add a solid 100 speed tier and decent mixed defenses and you are staring at a stat spread that covers pretty much every base at once. To Mega Evolve though, Zygarde first has to assemble into complete form through Power Construct. And this prerequisite is kind of an annoying drawback, it must be said, but nothing too hard either. I mean, you can just set up a couple of substitutes and you're good to go. Once the transformation is complete, Mega Zygarde gains access to what is easily the most devastating move ever printed. Z-moves included, by the way. Obviously, I'm referring to its new signature move, Nihil Light. This move is a 200, yes, you heard that right, 200 base power dragon type move with perfect accuracy, a generous 16 PP, it ignores all stat changes, and, get this, it hits fairy types. You know, the one type that was designed to check dragons way back in X and Y. So because Nihil Light ignores stat modifications, no amount of setup can save you. And I cannot believe we are living in a timeline where I can say this, but yes, Mega Zygarde is capable of one-hit KOing an Arceus Fairy that has 6 Calm Mind boosts by using a special Dragon-type move. Isn't that just batshit insane? Mega Zygarde honestly feels less like a metagame addition and more like a mythological payoff. It's kind of Kalos fulfilling its theme of balance and destruction, and I'm so glad Zygarde is getting the recognition it deserves along the way. There is no shot OU will be able to contain it, and I doubt even Ubers will, which would make Mega Zygarde the 5th Pokemon to be banned to Anything Goes. I guess we'll see if that happens. So basically, this is why I couldn't give it a number. It does not belong on a ranked list, it sits above the rank. Mega Zygarde isn't just the best new Mega Evolution, I think it's kind of the logical culmination of the concept. But yeah folks, with the release of Pokémon Legends Z-A, we have witnessed the birth of a myth, and quite possibly the most terrifying Pokémon Game Freak has ever imagined. And that wraps up the strongest new Mega Evolutions in Pokémon Legends Z-A. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe and leave a like. These videos always take a lot of effort to make and I am a one-man army. So any support is really appreciated. Oh, and comment down below which new megas excite you the most. Okay, bye!